I know Diana doesn't like me. She only married me out of spite for her ex-boyfriend. 3 years after our marriage, their scandal was all over the trending searches. I was mocked by netizens as a cheating husband, but I never got angry at her, nor would I divorce her. She doesn't know that I'm dying, and I just want to spend my remaining time by her side. Yet, even this small wish of mine, she is unwilling to fulfill. Diana didn't come home tonight. I saw her on the trending searches. As the most popular actress right now, she was surrounded by stars, sitting in the center of attention. Diana wore a red dress, just as she did when we first met, looking just as hot and beautiful. I don't mind her playing around outside, because whenever she comes home, Diana would always cuddle with me and say coyly, "Those rumors are just the company's way of increasing my popularity. I've always had only you." I believed her, but today, I'm a bit scared, because I saw a familiar figure among those people, her ex-boyfriend, Mike. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Sister Sophia, Diana's manager. "Diana is drunk. Come and pick her up." I quickly got up but felt dizzy, and my nose started to bleed. I paused for a moment and wiped it off casually. It's just an incurable hereditary disease. Nothing more important than picking up my Diana. I can't let her know. She's timid and can't stand the sight of blood. I rushed to get there as quickly as I could, but what I saw was Mike holding Diana in a corner of the bar. "Mike, give her back to me." He looked up at me, his sharp eyebrows and rebellious demeanor just as always. "Oh, so you really did fulfill your wish and marry Diana." I directly took her from him, holding her in my arms, finally feeling some comfort. "I'm leaving." I wanted to quickly leave this uncomfortable place, but Mike's smug voice sounded behind me. "Do you know why Diana got drunk here? Because I just came back to the country, and she couldn't wait to throw me a welcome back party." I took a deep breath, suppressing my anger. I know Diana is kind-hearted. There's no need to say more. I put her in the car, and Diana drowsily opened her eyes and smiled at me. "Victor, you're here." I looked at her dependent expression, and my heart softened. I lowered my head and kissed her on the brow, comforting her. "Honey's here to take you home. Go to sleep." She nodded obediently and fell into a deep sleep. Everyone thought she didn't love me, just because 3 years ago, Mike rejected her in public and chose to go abroad. Out of spite, she put the ring on my finger and married me. I became the guy who everyone thought got lucky, marrying a fair-skinned, beautiful movie star, but no one knew how happy I was. Everyone said that once Mike came back, Diana would definitely leave me and get back with him. But in the 3 years we were together, Diana grew to love me more and more, and we got along better and better. She couldn't cook, but she learned to make porridge and soup to take care of my weak stomach. She would act cute just to have an extra piece of ice cream during her period. She would explain every time a rumor appeared, and stop taking roles with explicit content for me, even using stand-ins for kissing scenes. At our best, she held me and seriously asked if I wanted a child. As a star, she knew how bad pregnancy and childbirth would be for her, but she still wanted to have our child. I believed we were truly in love, until the day I was diagnosed with a terminal illness in the hospital. I didn't know how to tell Diana. We hadn't even finished discussing what to name our first child, but then Mike came back, and she threw him a welcome back party at the best bar in town. That night, they talked for a long time. The next day, Diana suddenly wanted to take me to a party. It turned out that Mike had returned to the country to raise funds. His project abroad had failed miserably, and the entire Song family was struggling. As the future heir of the Song family, the once noble young Master Song had to bow his head and seek investments. When Diana brought me in, the place was already in an uproar. The atmosphere was heated. Mike was drinking with a man, his face flushed. "Young Master Song, didn't you say you wanted investments? Fine, I'll drink 1 cup. You drink 10. If you can outdrink me, I'll invest in you immediately." He drank cup after cup, with a nonchalant and careless smile. But as soon as Diana and I walked in, his smile froze. Then he started drinking even more vigorously, and perhaps he choked, lowering his head to cough violently. Seeing Diana, the people around started to jeer. "Young Master Song, weren't you and Diana a couple before? You could ask the great actress Diana for help. Anyway, Diana has had plenty of scandals outside. It's not impossible for her to support you." Bang. Unexpectedly, Mike, with reddened eyes, directly punched that man to the ground. "Damn it, you brat, dare to hit me. Don't even think about the investment. I'll sue you too." The man got up and cursed, but Mike roared in anger. "Say whatever you want about me, but don't you dare say a word about Diana. It's me who wronged her." I clearly felt Diana's grip on my hand tighten, her whole body tense. Then she smiled, with a clear coldness. "You can joke about anything, but my husband is right here. Mike is a disgusting scumbag. There's no way I would help him." Everyone immediately started flattering us, praising us as a loving couple, a model pair in the entertainment industry. I smiled without speaking, but my heart grew colder and colder. Diana rarely asked me to attend parties because she knew I didn't like them. So, did she bring me here for Mike? If he weren't here, Diana definitely wouldn't have come, right? Seeing Diana truly not helping him, the men who got punched laughed even more arrogantly. I heard your song family is bankrupt. Do you still think you're the beloved young master of 3 years ago? If you kneel down now and lick my shoes clean, I won't sue you and will even invest in you. How about that? With that, he extended his shoe, stained with alcohol. Clearly, he was thoroughly enjoying humiliating the once proud scion. Mike stood straight, lowering his head, his fists slowly clenching. Just as everyone thought he was going to hit someone again, he knelt on one knee. Everyone was shocked. I noticed Diana's gaze was fixed on him too. The once lawless, rebellious young master song from 3 years ago actually knelt down for the sake of a few million in investment. He spoke with difficulty, lifting his head, seemingly with tears glinting in his eyes. I'm not kneeling for your investment. I'm apologizing to a woman I deeply hurt. 3 years ago, I didn't know how to cherish her, so I lost the most precious thing in the world. I'm sorry. I truly regret it. The room fell silent. Everyone knew Mike was apologizing to Diana, seeking her forgiveness, but as her husband, standing right next to her, what should I do? The men felt he had been played and kicked Mike hard, knocking him down. Stop it. Diana finally couldn't hold back and rushed over to stop him. My manager and lawyer will handle the compensation. Now get out. The powerful aura of the movie queen made the man leave with his tail between his legs. Everyone in the room was watching me, expecting me to step up like a man and take my wife away, but I felt a wave of dizziness, hurriedly covering my nose, and dashed out the door. I couldn't let Diana see me with a nosebleed. After I managed to clean up, I returned to the room, but there was no one left. The waiter told me Diana had paid and left, taking Mike with her, so I was left behind. When I got home, I couldn't sleep all night, and Diana didn't come back either. At 3 a.m., I suddenly saw a post on Diana's Weibo. It was a side profile of her sleeping on a couch. The caption read, "You are the soft spot beneath my hard armor." The comment section quickly filled up. The shippers were the most enthusiastic. The fallen noble young master x the stunning movie queen. My ship has finally resurrected. Many others commented, 3 years ago, they were the hottest couple. Finally, they are back together. Support Diana in rekindling her love. I can't stand that ugly man Victor. He has no physique, no looks. He doesn't match our movie queen at all. They were all mocking me, but I was just relieved. Luckily, Diana didn't sleep with him. I didn't want to pay attention, but then someone posted a photo of Diana and me together in the comments. In the photo, I look thin and ordinary in my plaid shirt, not exactly ugly, but I didn't match at all with Diana, who looked radiant and stunning. I'm really about to vomit. Ugly men should stay away from beauties. Support the movie queen to get a divorce quickly. They don't look like a couple at all. Then a bunch of shippers posted old photos of her and Mike from 3 years ago. Every picture looked like a TV drama with a handsome man and beautiful woman. 2 words, perfect match. Diana, don't fall for ugly guys. Find a handsome man. See how perfect you two look together. All female stars, repeat after me 100 times, don't date ugly guys, and definitely don't marry them. This quickly turned into a public outcry against female stars dating ugly men. This post also topped the trending searches. Soon, Diana responded, "I don't have a thing for ugly men. I did get back together with Mike." This instantly set the internet ablaze. They all claimed it was a victory, successfully restoring the movie queen's taste. My hands and feet went cold as I watched, feeling dizzy. Blood started dripping from my nose, soon staining my pants red. My vision blurred, and I struggled to call my good friend Marco. Take me to the hospital. Clean up the blood at home. Your wife's affair is outrageous. What's wrong? Hey. I passed out, just hoping Marco would clean up the blood at home. Diana faints at the sight of blood. I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. When I woke up, Marco was looking at me with red eyes, coldly mocking me. "Victor, this is the woman you made a mess of yourself to marry. You big fool. You gave up your position as the young master of the Song family for her. Now your wife has been taken away. You have a terminal illness, and you fall into this state. Isn't it laughable?" I moved my body and found that I was fine, breathing a sigh of relief. She doesn't know about this. It's my own choice. A pretty funny and melodramatic story. Actually, I'm the real son of the Song family. I got lost when I was a child, and that's how Mike was adopted and became the young master of the Song family. I found out about this in college. At that time, I happened to fall in love with Diana, who was dating Mike. Later, I used the identity of the young master of the Song family to force Mike to break up and go abroad. The condition was that I would never return to the Song family, and he couldn't tell Diana about it. But now, with the Song family bankrupt, Mike has come back to take Diana away. I have a terminal illness and am powerless. Maybe this is karma. I looked at the pale ceiling and laughed. Marco had already asked the doctor, and I could only get conservative treatment. Maybe you should just let it go. After all, Diana never loved you from the start. My heart ached at those words, and the image of the photo I saw on Weibo last night flashed in my mind. Forcibly picked fruit is not sweet, but at least it quenches thirst when picked. Forget it. Don't talk nonsense. We're doing fine. Marco lowered his head and wiped away a tear. I'm really unlucky to have a love-obsessed friend like you. You're dying and still thinking about a wife who doesn't love you. I laughed out loud. I'm really lucky to have a friend who cares about me so much. Marco laughed too, just like when we first met in the school infirmary. Back then, he got into a fight with some thugs because of his straightforward personality and ended up in the infirmary. And I, with my frail body, had fainted during military training and also ended up in the infirmary. From that moment, we inexplicably became brothers and never separated. We were silent for a long time, and then he suddenly spoke. Seriously, you should divorce her, and then I'll take you on a trip to Tibet. Didn't you always want to go to Tibet? My words got stuck in my throat, not knowing what to say. Yes, my biggest dream in this life was to see the blue, clear sky, the endless grasslands, and the lavender fields. Most importantly, the grandmother at the orphanage told me she was from Tibet, and her biggest dream was to return to her roots. I had asked Diana many times if we could go to Tibet together when she wasn't so busy with work. She always verbally agreed, then turned around and started preparing for her next movie. Seeing Marco's serious expression, I knew he wasn't joking this time. He just wanted to make sure my final days were spent with dignity. Let me think about it. My words circled in my throat, but I still didn't agree to it. Maybe, if Diana truly loves me and can't bear to part with me, how could I leave first? I returned home, and Diana hurriedly came to me, grabbing my hand to explain. I didn't post that Weibo. I fell asleep on the couch that night, and Mike posted it himself. As soon as I saw the news, I came home immediately. Why weren't you at home? Where did you go? You look so pale. I forced a smile, lowered my head, and hugged her waist tightly, greedily inhaling her faint fragrance. But there was a hint of men's cologne mixed with her scent. I'm fine. I believe you. She sighed with relief and hugged me back tightly. Forget it. I didn't want to argue anymore. After that day, things on the internet got worse, and Mike sent me a message to meet at his house. When I saw him, he was smoking, surrounded by smoke, with a few bottles of freshly drunk whiskey on the table. Sit. I sat down and poured myself a glass of water. My purpose for coming back to the country this time is to take back my woman. Victor, you understand what I mean, right? He exhaled a puff of smoke and squinted at me. I smiled. Diana is my wife. We are legally married. You, the homewrecker, seem a bit out of your mind. He paused his smoking, then stubbed out his cigarette. You've made some progress since I last saw you. If it weren't for Marco in high school, I could have beaten you to death. Now you're talking big. I shrugged nonchalantly. Try hitting me now. I'll fall to the ground immediately and claim 50,000 from you. Oh, I forgot, your Song family is bankrupt. You, the once grand young master Song, now have to accompany people drinking to get investments. You look pretty good. Maybe you could try working at a duck club and see if the Song family can recover from your earnings. His face darkened, and he threw the bottle in his hand. Bang. Then he threw a left hook, fast and fierce. But I wasn't weak either. I had learned Taekwondo and dodged easily, landing a solid punch on his stomach. Ugh. His face turned pale as he clutched his stomach and stepped back several steps. Fuck, you ungrateful bastard. Then he grabbed a stick from the side and swung it at me. I could have dodged easily, but suddenly my head felt heavy. That damn familiar feeling returned, and I stumbled forward, taking 2 hits. After 2 hits, I fell to the ground, vomiting blood continuously. He hit hard. I could feel my organs being damaged. I thought you'd be tougher, but after 3 years, you're still just trash. He threw the stick down and squatted in front of me, mocking me. I struggled to get up and punched him hard in the face again. Just then, a familiar voice sounded from behind. What's going on here? When I turned around, I saw Diana standing at the door with a fruit basket, looking at me in shock. She quickly walked over, frowning at the blood on the ground and asked Mike, "Why did you hit Victor? Don't you know he's not in good health?" Mike's eyes reddened, but he stubbornly held back his tears. He called me a homewrecker and came here to teach me a lesson, so I fought back. Diana, do you think I'm such a low person? If it weren't for you, I would never interfere in anyone's marriage. These words moved Diana again. She sighed deeply and turned to me. Victor, go home. I'll handle this. My stomach burned with pain, but it couldn't compare to the pain in my heart. I tried to stay calm. Diana, come home with me, I'm hurt. Diana looked at me, with a hint of confusion and sadness in her eyes, and shook her head. Go home. I'm going to have dinner with Mike. I don't want to see you right now. I smiled bitterly, clutching my stomach, feeling the searing pain. Why? I'm your husband. Her tears fell, filled with struggle and pain. Then why did you force Mike to go abroad and break up with me 3 years ago? Wasn't that wrong? My head buzzed, the coldness in my heart spreading to every part of my body. In the end, Diana found out the truth. Before I could continue explaining, Mike stepped between us. There's nothing more to say. The truth is out. Victor, you're out. His eyes were full of malicious provocation, extremely proud. I felt another nosebleed coming and had to turn and run away in embarrassment. It's okay, I believe Diana will forgive me. I made mistakes before, but that was in the past. I don't believe this is the end for us, but I was wrong. When I woke up in the hospital again, the internet was flooded with slander against me. Mike had made our deal from 3 years ago public, selectively revealing the truth about the real and fake young master situation, focusing on how I forced him to break up and took advantage of the situation to marry Diana. My reputation was completely ruined. Now the entire internet was calling for Diana to divorce me quickly. Can you just die, ugly men, scum? Forcing a couple to break up and go abroad. Ugh, it's so disgusting. Human scum behavior awards. How can such a despicable person exist? Oh my God, isn't that illegal? Why doesn't he just die? Police, please arrest him, it's so disgusting. Divorce quickly, I can't believe my movie queen sister was deceived for 3 years. I'm so angry. Divorce immediately. Even my address was exposed. People threw rotten eggs at me, poured feces, threw rotten vegetables, and lit candles on my Weibo, telling me to die. The windows of my house were all smashed. I didn't care about any of this, as I had endured much more of such violence in my youth. A few days later, I was knocked out by a rock thrown by an anti-fan. Before I closed my eyes, I seemed to see Diana running towards me in a panic. I'm bleeding. Will Diana be scared? Mike has always hated me. He went to the same high school as me, and I always topped the class, keeping him in second place. So, he started bullying me in private. This included, but was not limited to, pouring water on me, tearing up my homework, beating me up, and smearing glue on my chair. Because the Song family was wealthy and influential, the school turned a blind eye and only asked Mike not to go too far, so I could still take the college entrance exam. After all, I was a promising candidate for Tsinghua and Peking University. After I got lost, I lived in an orphanage. Once, the grandmother who raised me came to visit. She saw me being beaten up by Mike and his gang in an alley. She was furious. At nearly 70 years old, she raised her cane and struck Mike on the head. He, in a fit of rage, pushed her. She fell to the ground and died of a heart attack. The Song family gave me a large sum of money, enough to cover my university education, on the condition that I erase the incident. I collapsed to the ground, crying bitterly, and accepted the money with tears in my eyes. Because Mike was a minor, even if I reported it to the police, nothing could be done to him. I donated all that money to the orphanage, hoping it could take care of more orphans, fulfilling grandmother's wish. Every time I saw her empty room, my heart ached unbearably. I swore I would make Mike pay. Later, I met Marco, who protected me and helped me finish high school. In university, I met Diana. She was so beautiful and kind, but she was with Mike. During a school physical, I discovered by chance that I had a hereditary disease, a disease only the Song family had. So, I found a way to get a strand of Mrs. Song's hair and secretly did a DNA test. It was absurd. The woman who arrogantly bought off my grandmother's life in high school was my biological mother. The seed of my hatred ignited, and I naturally didn't want to return to the Song family, nor did I want to get nothing out of it. I went to Mike. He, of course, didn't hesitate to abandon Diana and chose the identity of the Song family's young master. He said, "Money is the true principle of this world." To make room for me, he chose to go abroad, breaking up with Diana. All because of Mike, but why should he now return without any guilt and take everything from me? Impossible. I won't let go easily. I groggily opened my eyes and saw Diana lying by my bedside. I reached out to touch her hair, waking her up. "You're awake, Victor, are you okay?" Her usual delicate makeup was gone, leaving her face bare and looking utterly exhausted. "Diana, I'm fine. I'm doing great." But she broke down, crying loudly. "You say you're fine, but you're sick, and it's terminal." I held her, gently comforting her. "It's okay, I'll get better soon. Don't forget, I'm your miracle brother." She froze, her pupils dilating instantly. "You're the miracle brother who took me home when I was little." The truth is, I've loved her for a long time. We are the same age. When we were 7, I saw Diana lost. She was dressed exquisitely, standing in the middle of the road, looking confused. I saw an ordinary-looking woman trying to take her away. I rushed over, kicking and biting, and took Diana with me. Brother, I don't know where my mom is. I only remember a place with a pink unicorn. Seeing her crying uncontrollably, I took on the task of finding her mom. I'll definitely find your mom. She paused, eyes red, and asked if I was serious. I nodded and patted her shoulder. Of course, I'm your miracle brother. But that wasn't true. I took her to the orphanage, spent 3 days going from street to street, and finally found her mom's shop and brought her back. I was too young to know to call the police. Pretty silly, my shoes were worn out, but the ending was good. Diana wouldn't become an orphan like me, left to be bullied. Knowing this, Diana cried even more. Soon, the online slander was cleared away, and Diana clarified that we were truly in love. She also told all her fans that she would never divorce me in this lifetime, and if they didn't like Victor, they could unfollow her. This was the first time Diana responded so directly to online comments, and soon many people started saying we were a loving couple. Actually, Diana and Victor are great together. Diana doesn't even do kissing scenes anymore. Isn't that love? Since Diana and Victor got together, her emotions have been stable. She smiles a lot, and she spends holidays with him. She's clearly married to the right person. You say Mike and her look good together, but I think it doesn't seem real. The smiles when Diana is with Victor are full of genuine feelings. All love. Am I the only one who doesn't think Victor is ugly? He's just too thin. Diana stayed with me throughout my treatment, pushing back all her filming commitments to take care of me wholeheartedly. But Mike wouldn't give up. Today, Diana was gently feeding me the soup she had made herself, her eyes full of tenderness, but the next second, her phone rang. She immediately put down the spoon, her face changing, and went out to answer the call. Then, even after the soup had gone cold, she didn't come back. I watched the sunset outside the window gradually disappear, from daylight to darkness, my heart being crushed bit by bit. She didn't return all night, nor did she reply to my messages. That night, I was so hungry that my stomach went into spasms. A nurse found me during rounds, pale and bleeding from my nose. It was the first time I was taken to the emergency room. When I woke up, I heard a commotion outside. It was Marco yelling at someone, "Just leave Victor alone. Damn it. He gave up his identity as the Song family's young master for you. He's practically losing his life for you. Can you just let him go?" "I know I've wronged him," Diana's choked voice replied. "Don't act all pathetic here. If I didn't have a rule against hitting women, you'd be on your knees today. You ran off the moment Mike called, leaving Victor to almost die in the hospital. How could you do something like that?" Marco spat angrily. "He's not going to live long anyway, and now he nearly died just to give your lover his place." "It's not like that. He said he had a car accident, and I panicked and went to him." Enough. Shut up. Go wherever you want, but get a divorce from Victor and set him free." The hallway fell silent. Diana didn't say another word. Only her sobs could be heard. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Marco, come in first." Hearing my voice, they both came in. Diana's eyes were still filled with tears, looking extremely pitiful. For the first time, I looked at her coldly. I said, "Let Marco in." "You go out." The soup had gone cold, and so had my heart. When I was about to die in the emergency room, my mind wasn't filled with Diana or anyone else, but Tibet. I heard that Tibet holds the most devout beliefs, and the sacred mountains and lakes there can sense things. I want to scatter my grandmother's ashes there and tell her that I've finally brought her back home. Diana bit her lip. Maybe it was the first time I had treated her this way, and she felt uncomfortable. She turned and left angrily. I looked at Marco and smiled at him. "Brother, let's go to Tibet." He came up and rubbed my bald head, which was empty from chemotherapy, nodding with a tearful smile. "If you don't want to smile, don't. It's just a woman. We don't need her. We'll go to Tibet together." "Okay," I responded softly, feeling more relaxed than ever. "Diana, I don't want to wait for you anymore. If you could abandon me once for Mike, you could do it a second time, but I can't wait for the day you'll truly turn back for me. Your miracle brother needs to live for himself this time." Tibet. I finally arrived. I put on my down jacket, wore my hat, and followed Marco's steps up the snowy mountains and the Potala Palace. We admired the magnificent scenery and laid my grandmother to rest in the most beautiful spot. At this moment, in the square of the Potala Palace, there was a group of people prostrating themselves in prayer. I coughed a few times and asked someone nearby, "What are they praying for?" A Tibetan man answered me in broken Mandarin, explaining that they were praying with pure kindness, prostrating themselves to bless the future world and wish all living beings peace and happiness. Marco and I were deeply moved. It turns out there really are such pure-hearted people in the world, without any desire, without the stench of money or power, only an unblemished heart. I looked at the sunrise over the golden mountains, thinking of my impending death, and suddenly felt enlightened. "Marco, I want to prostrate too." He was shocked and tried to stop me. "You're crazy. You're already terminally ill. Doing this will make you die even faster." I smiled, took off my scarf, went to the street to buy the necessary items for the pilgrimage, and began the prostration route from Lhasa to Yamdrak. I remember when my grandmother was young, she told me with a storybook in hand that she had walked this path, so I wanted to experience the beauty of this road myself. Marco, worried, followed me with medicine. The journey was about 1,100 kilometers. Starting from Lhasa, I was naturally recognized by Diana's fans during the pilgrimage. One of them even started live streaming, mocking me with a smile. Everyone, look, the shameless husband of the movie queen is prostrating. Isn't this just to get attention? For a time, a huge influx of viewers entered his live stream. Guadamu, proud and smug, continued to ridicule me, increasing the hype. I think he's just putting on a show. Everyone knows that prostrating is extremely tough, and only a very few can complete it. I ignored him, prostrating myself again and again, wearing out my knees bit by bit without uttering a sound, because this was the land my grandmother had once walked inch by inch. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 10 days passed, and everyone in the live stream was shocked by me. My knees, palms, and forehead were covered with wounds from countless prostrations. I also had to stop from time to time to wipe the blood from my nose. A doctor who knew me mentioned my terminal illness in the live stream. Without my knowledge, public opinion about me on the internet had completely reversed. People started apologizing to me, admiring my perseverance, but I didn't care about any of that. Every time I finished prostrating at a place, I would stop to donate some money. Guadamu, who had been live streaming me for so long, started getting curious. Victor, why do you donate so much money? Looking at the live stream camera, I suddenly thought of the children at the orphanage. Because I'm an orphan, I hope the money I donate can make the orphans in the world a bit luckier. As soon as I said this, a group of people began to dig into my background. They found out that I was a top student, an orphan without parents, living alone until now. Suddenly, I smiled. In fact, I wasn't originally an orphan. I was taken in by the orphanage after I got lost, so I am very grateful to them. After saying this, I didn't explain further and continued my prostrations. After dropping such a bombshell, the internet began a fervent search for my parents. It was just netizens trying to redeem themselves, doing something to ease their consciences. At this time, a detailed essay about my experiences went viral online. Far away in Shanghai, Mike was completely panicked. Diana and he had a fierce confrontation, which happened to be secretly filmed and posted online. Marco vividly described the scene to me. In the bustling street, dressed in a white suit, Diana, with a grim face, slapped Mike hard. With tears in her eyes, Diana painfully questioned him. Why do this to Victor? What did he ever do to you? Mike, his eyes red, viciously kicked Diana, causing the onlookers to gasp in shock. What a beast, hitting a woman. Some in the crowd, aware of the backstory, clicked their tongues in disdain. Scum man and trash woman, they deserve it. Mike seemed indifferent. He straightened up and smiled slightly, because he played me first. In reality, he can never go back to the Song family. He wasn't just lost, he was deliberately left at the orphanage door by the Song family. Because of his congenital hereditary disease, which is incurable, and the Song family parents couldn't bear having their carefully raised heir be someone who could die at any moment. That's why they abandoned Victor. The Song family never wanted him, so he came to threaten me. I was the foolish one, too insecure at the time, still young, so I believed all his lies and broke up with you. Now there's a perfect opportunity to make things right. Why won't you be with me? His face showed confusion and a coldness, just like the rest of the Song family. I'd rather die than be with you. I already have someone I love, and we are very happy. Diana got up from the ground, gritting her teeth as she spoke. Mike's face darkened, then twisted with anger as he yelled. It's laughable. Really, the only reason I broke up with you was that I got tired of you. You aren't even that pretty, your body is average, and your personality is terrible. I can't understand why Victor worships you, using all his energy to love you. If it weren't for your money, do you think I'd stay here? A woman like you. I've slept with you so much I'm sick of it. Hearing this, Diana trembled with rage, her eyes red, her heart torn to pieces. She realized that the only person who truly cared for her was the one she had deeply hurt. She needed to atone for her mistakes. Diana wiped her tears, regaining her cold and emotionless demeanor of a superstar. Then the Song family will never rise again. Every one of you should be buried, including you. You owe him 2 lives. With that, she turned and walked away. Mike, left behind, laughed maniacally, clutching his stomach. Ha ha ha. What about you? Are you without fault? Diana turned away, tears streaming down her face, but she walked on, biting her lip. She thought of Victor, scarred and injured in Tibet, and felt as if a knife was cutting her heart. She wanted to bring her love back, especially since he didn't have much time left, but she couldn't. She had to avenge all the wrongs done to Victor before she could face him again. As for what people saw online, it was naturally my story. This detailed essay narrated how I went from being the young master of the Song family to an orphan, then being brutally bullied by Mike in high school, leading to my grandmother's death from a heart attack caused by them. It also explained how I knew Diana since childhood and had saved her life. In college, I discovered my biological family and used this information to make a deal with Mike. He chose status and position, completely abandoning Diana. The essay included photos of me looking frail in the orphanage, being bullied in high school, and my numb expression at my grandmother's funeral. Finally, it showed the online insults I endured after Mike returned to China, and pictures of me after being diagnosed with a terminal illness, with my hair shaved off, emaciated like a skeleton, wearing a hospital gown. Any one of these experiences would have caused most people to break down. But here I was, standing in Tibet, with a calm demeanor, continuing my pilgrimage with a serene heart. Compared to before, I had gained some weight, my skin had tanned to a bronze color, and I actually looked healthier at first glance. The internet exploded. No one expected Mike, a fake young master, to be so arrogant. Bullying, killing, stealing another man's wife, his crimes were beyond words. Then, the walls came tumbling down, and more people began exposing Mike's misdeeds. He had smoked, drank, and gambled since his teenage years, and bullied students who outperformed him academically. He pursued Diana in college because of a ridiculous bet. He noticed I had fallen for Diana, so he bet with his cronies that he could win over the school beauty within 3 months. The Song family's bankruptcy was also due to his gambling abroad. After Diana and Mike's street fight, she meticulously set a trap for him. Mike was soon caught for gambling, with multiple charges adding up. This time, the Song family couldn't save him. After ensuring Mike was well taken care of in prison, Diana rushed to Tibet. The sun was scorching that day, almost burning her delicate face. Seeing me, covered in scars, she broke down, crying continuously and even kneeling to apologize to me. "Please, let's go to the hospital. We'll go to the best hospital for treatment. Okay, you can get better. Don't torture yourself here," she cried, following me, speaking as she walked. But I didn't look at her, continuing my prostrations. "I never cheated on you. I've always loved you." He lied to me about the car accident and begged me, so I helped him out of pity. "Believe me, Victor, aren't you my miracle brother?" Diana cried miserably, her face bare and without makeup. Unlike her usual delicate beauty, the entire Song family was sold to Southeast Asia because of their debts. "I didn't lend a single penny to Mike. I've avenged you. Please, just look back at me." She knelt, crying, begging for my forgiveness. I paused when I heard this, sighing. I turned to look at her. "Diana, I don't love you anymore. We're done. I'm still your wife." She stubbornly shook her head, refusing to let go. I looked up at the kites flying and the eagles soaring freely in the sky. "That's just a piece of paper. Meaningless. As a man, that marriage certificate wasn't important to me. When I loved Diana, I would have died for her. But now that I don't love her, whatever she does is irrelevant to me. Go back. I will finish this journey." Diana didn't leave. She and Marco stayed with me, watching me as I continued my prostrations. The journey was 1,100 kilometers. Whether it rained or shone brightly, I kept moving forward. Slowly, I found my heart becoming cleaner. I used to be angry, sad, and desperate, but along this journey, I became more and more peaceful. In the end, the hereditary disease didn't spare me. I could no longer breathe. My organs were in severe pain. My nose bled, and I collapsed at Namso. Namso is one of the largest lakes in Tibet, also known as the Heavenly Jewel. They hurried to call for emergency help, but I stopped them, because right now, I felt like I was lying in my grandmother's arms, very comfortable. The sky was as blue as a sapphire, a cloudless sunny day. I remembered the moment before my grandmother passed away. Her gray, white hair spread out on the ground, like the scene of an aging heroine in a black and white movie. She lay in my arms, her face blue and purple, her lips blackened. Grandmother told me about the tradition of their tribe. When people die, they are to be buried with a smile. Marco. His face was flushed red, covered in tears, wrinkled together, looking so ugly. "Don't cry," grandmother said. Zhao. "We cried when we were born. Why shouldn't we smile when we say goodbye?" I also said with a smile. "We cried when we were born. Why shouldn't we smile when we say goodbye?" He froze. His crying stopped. Ha 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 ha. His laughter overlapped in my eyes, as if I was holding my grandmother in that dark alley. He was crying without tears. I was laughing without joy. I also laughed as I stopped breathing. At least in this life, I have gained, lost, and worshipped. In the end, I became grandmother's family as I wished, always accompanying her back to heaven. Extra, Marco's perspective. The first time I met Victor, I knew this guy was tough. He had immense strength hidden in his frail body. Most people would have been depressed after being bullied by Mike for 2 years, but he remained silent, always maintaining the top position in his grade. We met in the infirmary during our senior year military training. Alright, I decided to watch over this kid. He really resonated with me. Later, when we went to college, I found out he was actually the young master of the Song family. Even crazier, this guy was willing to give up that identity for a woman. You're truly insane. I had never seen someone so obsessed with love. But he just laughed, his frail shoulders seeming to want to carry a mountain. You don't understand. This is love. Later, they got married as they wished and seemed pretty happy. But then, Mike came back. Damn, I need a moment to calm down. I'm really angry. Why do good people in this world die young while the scoundrels live on? Victor had a terminal illness, a hereditary disease that was incurable. His parents hadn't taken care of him a single day since he got lost at the age of 3, yet they left him with a fatal hereditary disease. What was even more disgusting was that Diana, like a fickle woman, wavered between sides. Later, when I saw my buddy being cyberbullied, I got even angrier. During that time, I ran around, using my connections in the police department to gather all of Victor's life experiences, and I wrote an essay about it. I was waiting for the right time to publish it, but then, Victor almost died. I had thought that Diana clearing up things online was a sign of conscience, but she almost killed Victor. After arguing with Diana, I saw the light in Victor's eyes go out. He didn't want to go to Tibet. He wanted to leave this place that filled him with despair. Mike had taken his family, killed his grandmother, and now wanted to take his beloved wife too. Victor had lost the will to live, and before he died, he wanted to see Tibet, the place his grandmother once lived. For the first time, I wanted to cry. Sorry, I need a moment. I finally took him there. At the Potala Palace, he scattered his grandmother's ashes. His body, as thin as a stick, still wanted to make a pilgrimage. It was a journey of 1,100 kilometers. Even a physically strong adult man would need to muster a lot of courage for such a journey, yet he didn't hesitate. From Lhasa to Yamdrakyumso, he began his pilgrimage. Later, his journey was live-streamed, gaining more and more attention. After he admitted that he was an orphan, I released the essay I had written at the right time. Let me bear all the sins. Victor could then leave this world clean and free of regrets. But Diana came running back, crying and making a fuss, annoying as hell. Even though Victor's body was falling apart, his eyes grew brighter. I felt that the fire that had always burned in Victor since high school had returned. He rejected Diana and decided to continue his pilgrimage, intending to die here. I didn't try to persuade him anymore. Once Victor made up his mind, no one could change it. Whether it was using his identity as the Song family's young master to win Diana back then or making this pilgrimage now, I stayed by his side. Victor died under the sky at Namso. I buried him with a smile. He said, "We cried when we were born. Why shouldn't we smile when we say goodbye?" I looked up at the blinding sun, my eyes stinging with tears. Brother, you really chose a good place. In the next life, I, Marco, will still be brothers with Victor. I'm what people often call a nice guy. I happily stepped up to take over the goddess everyone dreamed of, but a year later, she started coming home later and later, and the way she looked at me became more and more filled with disdain. I overheard her say to someone, "He's so average. Why should I be expected to stay loyal just for him?" Everyone thought I'd be devastated, but instead, I let out a long sigh of relief. Finally. Honestly, I'd been bored of her for a while. If she didn't speak up, I wouldn't even have had a reason to bring up divorce. But hey, that's what it means to be a nice guy. Always thinking of others first. Chapter 1. At 3 a.m., my club-hopping, party-loving wife Willow finally came home. She'd been traveling with her besties for 2 months straight. Even missed the wedding anniversary I spent days preparing for. Half asleep, I caught a strong whiff of her perfume, bold and aggressive, just like her, but mixed in was a faint trace of men's cigarettes. I opened my eyes and saw a flawless face staring back. Willow climbed into bed and tried to wake me up. She gathered her hair into a bun, exposing her long, elegant neck that gleamed like polished jade. Her curvy, well-toned body exuded sex appeal, eyes half-lidded and seductive, the kind of gaze that could make any man lose control. No wonder she topped every trashy media's most desirable list 5 years running. But when her eyes met mine, she hesitated, her gaze sharpened a bit, and her enthusiasm faded. Still, she didn't stop. She leaned in, lips slightly parted, about to kiss me. I instinctively held back. Who knows what she'd just been up to? I chuckled and said, "Babe." The laugh had a slightly sleazy undertone. I swallowed and added, "You're finally back." I waited so long I fell asleep before I could even shower. That killed her mood instantly. She frowned and got out of bed to remove her makeup. "You're disgusting. You know you can't sleep in bed without showering," she snapped. I let out a sigh of relief and brushed it off with a ridiculous excuse. "I missed you too much." Realistically, someone like Willow, who's had more suitors than she can count, should have seen through my cheap lines. But I'd always acted like I was madly in love with her. I chased her for 3 years, Watched countless guys come and go. Watched her switch boyfriends like seasons. Yet I never gave up. She once called me the most durable simp she'd ever seen. I drifted back to sleep. Willow headed to the bathroom. Through the cracked door, I heard her on the phone. It was her best friend on the other end. Willow, you haven't been around for ages. Have you been staying loyal just for George? Willow snorted. Please, for a guy that basic, he's not worth it, honestly. I feel like puking every time he tries to kiss me. Her friend burst out laughing. Keep it down, Willow scolded. It's the middle of the night. Just as I was falling back asleep, Willow returned to bed. She placed a small bag on the nightstand. Through sleepy eyes, I saw it held a blue scarf. It looked nice. If I hadn't known she actually knitted 2 of them, and if I hadn't noticed the stitches on this one were a little rougher, I might have even been touched. But no, I wasn't angry. In fact, I felt a strange sense of anticipation. It's been a year since Willow settled down with me, that nice guy. Finally, she couldn't hold it in any longer. Hee hee, me neither. Chapter 2, I'm a nice guy. Just your average looking dude, but I've always liked, and only liked, beautiful women. Call it wishful thinking if you want, but to me, marrying a woman I'm not even remotely attracted to, that's worse than death. So, for that goal, I worked my ass off from a young age, because I knew I had no looks, no family background. A beautiful woman was never going to like me just for who I was. I did decently well in the college entrance exam. But that wasn't enough. Top-tier universities are everywhere now. If you're not in the elite ones, you're treated like garbage. I finished my master's degree, but that still wasn't enough. So I got a PhD, with my honest, nerdy face and my total obedience to my advisor. I graduated with top marks and landed a position at a prestigious research institute. I thought I'd made it, until the moment I first saw Willow. That's when I knew I still had a long way to go. I drank with the bosses, worked overtime after drinking, spent weekends writing research papers for their kids. Finally, at a young age, I made it to deputy division head. I finally had the qualifications to chase someone like Willow. During that time, people tried to set me up with other women. I went, and each date only strengthened my resolve to keep chasing Willow. After every failed blind date, I'd go see Willow, just to cleanse my eyes. One time, at 2 a.m., she got drunk and needed someone to pick her up. I went without hesitation. She looked at me and asked, "You like me that much?" As she said it, her bare shoulder peeked out from her dress, and there was a hickey on her neck. I nodded hard, zero hesitation, because I'm not into unattractive people. I said, "Willow, I love you." The love of beauty is a common human trait. This is how it should be used. I love beautiful women. Willow is beautiful. Therefore, I love Willow. Her features were stunning. Curves in all the right places, slim waist, long legs, the very definition of a bombshell in my mind. People could call my tastes basic or shallow, but their opinions had nothing to do with my concept of beauty. I never believed beauty could be ranked from vulgar to classy. To me, aesthetics can change, but they don't level up. Beauty is a feeling. I might not feel what others feel, but I definitely feel my own feelings. That's what really matters. Willow burst out laughing at my sudden confession. The breeze lifted her dark hair, revealing her long, curled lashes and those stunning fox-like eyes. She looked unreal. I suspected she'd had cosmetic work done, but honestly, I didn't care. Tipsy, dazed, leaning against the window, she pulled a lipstick from her purse, and under the soft yellow light of the car, slowly traced her lips. When she finished, she pouted and said, "George, you're the first person who's made me laugh in days." Yeah, my name's George. Even my name sounds painfully average. That night, she started giving me a little attention, from rejecting all 10 of my invites, to saying yes once or twice when she was in a good mood. Sometimes, she even agreed to a movie. Eventually, we got together, not because I moved her like in some cheesy romance drama. She was just tired of playing around, and her family was pushing her to get married. I had a PhD, a decent job, and I seemed stable. Her whole family, except her, liked me. I didn't care about the why. All I knew was, I finally married a beautiful woman. When I posted the wedding announcement, I felt invincible. Totally shut up all those people who said I was dreaming. On our wedding day, looking at Willow's face, like a masterpiece sculpted by a god, I was practically glowing. Beneath the veil, the lace hinted at her chest's perfect curves, and even her breathing made my heart race. When the officiant told us to kiss, I realized, damn, hugs could be that fulfilling. If only I could tie her up. Just thinking about it, this nice guy started to feel not so nice anymore. But Willow didn't notice anything. After all, I was still acting like a proper nice guy. Her kiss was cold, skilled, but emotionless. I didn't mind. I could make myself happy just fine. That night, I was ecstatic. My heart felt like a sponge soaking up a spring. I let out a satisfied sigh. The only downside? Willow had zero service mentality, and a bit of a disgusted look the whole time. To her, I was probably just good enough. Outside, streetlights stood like man-made stars, making up for the starless sky we lost. I looked at Willow's sleeping face and couldn't help but smile. Those seductive brows, elegant nose, and luscious lips. Goddamn, she was gorgeous, hotter than any celebrity. Her only flaw: she didn't love me. But hey, who's perfect? As long as she didn't ruin her face, I'd still love her. That's the kind of loyalty we nice guys have for love. Chapter 3. Whether what I felt for Willow was love, true love, really just depends on how you define love. According to my basic understanding of Freud and Schopenhauer, love is just a form of desire, a natural instinct. There's no need to romanticize it, and no need to shame it either. So whether it's Quasimodo or Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, both of them loved Esmeralda. Their morality, their actions, don't change that fact. Love is a type of desire, not something to be judged by how ethically it's expressed, and it certainly has nothing to do with why that desire exists. Once love is born, the cause behind it doesn't change its nature. So yeah, I'll openly admit, back then, I fell in love with Willow because she was drop-dead gorgeous. And because I wanted her. Simple as that. And now, that desire has been fulfilled. The next day, when I woke up, Willow was still asleep. Her phone lit up with a bunch of messages, all from a guy. I didn't check the content, but worried she wouldn't be able to reply as soon as she woke up. I plugged in her phone for her. It was about to die. I was just about to get out of bed, when she suddenly grabbed my arm. Eyes closed, she murmured, "It's still early, we could go another round." Her voice was husky with sleep. Seductive in the most sinful way. If it had been a year ago, I'd have jumped her in a heartbeat. But now, I said hesitantly, "Babe, I've got an important meeting with upper management today. Can't be late." Willow didn't look too happy. Before leaving, I even told her, "Sweetheart, I'll be on a business trip for 3 days. Take care of yourself, okay?" Just in case she didn't hear me, I texted her the same thing. Still, I wasn't at ease. I remembered she'd set my messages to do not disturb, so I messaged her best friend instead. "Hey, I'll be on a trip for 3 days. Could you help keep an eye on Willow? Thanks." I arrived at work on time. That evening, I stayed a little late to finish some paperwork. My boss even came over, concerned. "George, the trip's been postponed. No need to rush those documents, just head home and rest." I smiled and replied, "I'll leave after I wrap this up." But truthfully, I didn't clock out until 10:30 p.m. At 10:50 p.m., I opened the home security app on my phone. There it was, a man knocking on my door. Willow opened it in nothing but a nightgown. The guy held up a bottle of liquor, and Willow gave him a coy little smile. Before stepping aside to let him in, my foot almost floored the gas, but I told myself, stay calm. Don't crash the car over something like this. Not worth it. 11 p.m. I pulled up in front of the house. My hand trembled as I entered the passcode. I got it wrong the first time. When the door opened, the place was a mess. Willow's nightgown, torn pantyhose, things I wish I hadn't seen, even for a nice guy like me. This was a lot to process, but man, Willow really wasn't picky. They moved faster than I expected, because just as I stepped in, the bedroom door flew open. The guy stumbled out, shirtless, and whined toward the room. "Willow, don't be like this. I was just nervous. Give me another shot. I literally flew here for you." She responded by throwing a shoe at him. Willow snapped. "Looks good, but useless. Get lost." She rolled her eyes and strutted out. The guy forced a smile. "Come on, Willow, don't be mad. That one's on me. How about I take you to that new club tonight? We can try something wild, totally thrilling." Willow gave him a bored glance. She was just about to reply. When she looked up and saw me, the guy noticed too. He immediately shut up. The room went dead silent. Chapter 4. Before the man left, he said, "I just sent you the address. Hurry up." Willow slammed the door in his face. She turned to me and asked casually, "You're back early. Did you eat? Want me to cook something for you?" She acted completely normal. Not a trace of guilt, though she was talking a lot more than usual. I didn't respond, not a word. Willow pouted and went to remove her makeup. Her makeup was heavy, dramatic, and suddenly, I remembered, she once really liked a certain ex. That guy told her he hated kissing someone who felt like a layer of foundation. Said he didn't like women who wore too much makeup. So she listened, switched to a more natural look, even changed her wardrobe to seem more innocent and sweet. But with me, I once bought her a dress, just one dress. She lost her mind, refused to wear it, then shredded it into pieces and screamed that she would never change herself for anyone. Too bad that ex eventually moved abroad. They broke up peacefully, long distance and all. If they hadn't split, I probably wouldn't even be in the picture. But like I've said, I got with her for her looks. And since she was spending my money, I didn't care whether she liked it or not. I just kept buying the clothes I liked. After removing her makeup, Willow leaned in, wrapped her arms around my neck, stood on tiptoes, and tried to kiss me, but I saw the disgust flash across her face. I frowned and pushed her away. Her face dropped immediately. She'd probably never been rejected before, especially not by someone as average-looking as me. I asked her, "Who was that guy just now?" She scoffed. "What do you think?" There was a flicker of contempt in her eyes. She said, "George, have you forgotten? You were the one who chased me. You begged to be with me. It's not like this is new to you. You accepted it back then. Now you're changing your mind." I closed my eyes, let out a bitter laugh, and spoke hoarsely. I accepted that the woman I liked had been in past relationships, that she'd loved others before me, and moved on, but I never said I was okay with my wife cheating on me. Finally, a tear fell. Willow flinched. There was a flicker of hesitation, but after a moment, she bit her lip and said, "So what? If you can't accept it, then let's just get a divorce." She said it so lightly, like it meant nothing, just like she used to break up with her exes. One wrong move and she'd dump them without a second thought. She thought I'd never let her go, that I'd beg her to stay, maybe even break down, and honestly, once upon a time, I might have done exactly that. The streetlight outside seemed broken. It kept flickering like a fake star in a fake sky, but around 4 or 5 a.m., they suddenly go dark. Everything turns cold and real, worse than Cinderella's midnight spell. At least she was a genuinely kind-hearted beauty, I said. "Okay." Willow looked stunned. Before she could react, I continued, "All right, Willow, let's get divorced." Her face instantly twisted. She flushed bright red and snapped, "Wow, George, you've really grown a pair. Huh? Just don't come crawling back like a lapdog, begging me to take you back." She grabbed her phone and left. Speaker on. "Send me the address again. I'm coming over now." The music from the club blasted through the speaker, along with that guy's voice. "Hurry up, babe. I got a themed suite tonight, loaded with gear." Willow didn't look back. The door slammed shut again, right in my face. The wedding photo on the wall trembled from the impact. In the picture, an average-looking groom and a stunning bride, smiling sweetly arm in arm. The groom gazes lovingly at her. The bride stares at the camera, calm, and slightly annoyed. They never looked like a match, and now, it was finally over. I let out a deep breath, completely relaxed for the first time. Actually, there's one more thing I lied to Willow about. I didn't say I was going on a 3-day business trip. It's a 3-year one. Chapter 5. Outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, I waited for Willow from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. She never showed up. I thought she'd storm in with that guy after getting my text, ready to divorce me on the spot. Ended up wasting a personal day for nothing. Whatever. 2 years of separation is enough to file for divorce anyway. In fact, staying married with the illusion of a happy family helps with my work evaluations and promotions. I didn't try to reach out to Willow again, but I did post a few emo moments on my private feed, visible only to her and her besties. The day before I left, I got a message from one of Willow's girlfriends. She wrote, "Georgina, you and Willow are from different worlds." I couldn't even bother correcting her for getting my name wrong. Then she sent a video. In it, Willow was holding a wine glass with one hand, giving sultry looks to the men in front of her. Red wine trickled down her neck and slipped into her blouse, leaving a trail that stirred the imagination. Clearly, the person filming wanted to show me how Willow was acting all seductive and flirty. But then someone in the background suddenly shouted, "Makoto came back last week." Willow didn't react outwardly, but I knew her well. Her fingers tightened slightly around the glass. No wonder. Willow had said she was going on a 3-month trip with her friends but came back early, not to celebrate our missed anniversary, but because she didn't want to miss Makoto. Makoto Ito. What a name. Sounds like a male lead from some romance novel. He was Willow's ex, the one who went abroad, the one she once thought she'd marry, the only man she ever truly considered giving her whole heart to. The video was poorly shot. Makoto didn't even show up until the last 30 seconds. A charismatic man appeared at the door of the private room, walking straight toward Willow amid whistles and cheers. Then the video cut off. I hesitated, then decided to go. Outside the club, I got there just in time to see Willow come out. She leaned against a car, long legs crossed. Her slightly wavy hair fluttered in the night breeze, brushing across her collarbone. Every movement was effortlessly seductive. Her stunning looks turned heads from every passerby, but she didn't see any of them until Makoto appeared. He forced a sheepish, flattering smile and tried to act casual. "Willow, really? Not even gonna say hi to me?" Willow ignored him, but as he approached, She instinctively adjusted her posture and smoothed her dress. Makoto asked. Heard you got married to that guy who's been simping for you for years. Willow scoffed. What's it got to do with you? Makoto wasn't put off by her attitude. He pressed. Do you like him? Willow rolled her eyes and didn't answer. Then silence fell. Makoto gazed at her, eyes tracing her face, her features, and Willow just let him. Time dragged on, thick and heavy. Finally, Makoto turned to leave. Before he did, he said, I've never been the kind of guy to regret things, but I can't help wondering if I hadn't left back then. Anyway, congrats on the wedding. His words were drowned by the noise of passing traffic, but I knew Willow heard every word. Then suddenly, Willow said, I never loved him. I ended the recording. At first, I wanted some leverage to pressure Willow into a quicker divorce. Now it's clear, I was just fooling myself. Willow didn't skip the appointment at the Civil Affairs Bureau because she didn't want a divorce. She simply never saw my messages, too busy out partying. The night wind carried the scent of Willow past the corner of my eyes, now unknowingly moist. 3 years chasing her, 1 year of finally getting what I wanted. I used to think I'd spend my whole life with Willow. I figured that once we got old, our looks would even out, and no one would say we didn't match anymore. We did have some warm moments this past year, like eating together, watching shows together. Well, that's about it. To say I never had feelings for her would be a lie. Us nice guys, we're always the ones who get hurt. Luckily, the feelings weren't too deep. Hands in my pockets, I walked away with a spring in my step, leaving behind the couple who, after a long separation, couldn't help but kiss like no time had passed. That night, I left the divorce papers behind and boarded my flight. Chapter 6. Willow hadn't been home for a month since the night George brought up divorce. During that time, she either stayed with her girlfriends, at nightclubs, or sometimes at. Makoto stood next to Willow, sensing her gaze. He turned his head slightly and smiled. He was wearing a scarf around his neck. Funny thing, she had stayed up many nights to knit that scarf. The day she heard Makoto was coming back, she was out shopping, thinking about what to get George for their anniversary. She hadn't planned on buying anything at first. After all, she was always the one receiving gifts. Maybe back in her first relationship, she'd still return the gesture, responding sincerely to every bit of affection. But as she dated more, she gradually realized that those guys didn't really care if she gave back or not. As long as she accepted their gift, it already felt like they'd received the ultimate blessing. So eventually, she stopped returning gifts. She didn't even bother saying thank you anymore. But a wedding anniversary, that was a first. She had been traveling with friends when George sent her a message. Happy anniversary, honey. I'll be waiting for you when you get back. Attached was a photo of an elegant jewelry box. To Willow, it felt old-fashioned, yet strangely new. So when she happened to see a post on how to knit a scarf, she walked into a yarn shop on impulse. She didn't know why, but while choosing the materials, her mind wandered to Makoto. Makoto was in the same field, also a model. He was tall, poised, and carried himself with a kind of restrained grace, a true Prince Charming in the eyes of most women. And yet, even Willow hadn't expected she'd end up not marrying her Prince Charming, but acting out her own version of Beauty and the Beast. The thought made the corners of her mouth curl up, and as if fate were playing a joke on her, that's when she got the call. Her bestie told her, Makoto's coming back, and he was still single. Her friends kept chattering away on the phone, but Willow was focused on picking a color. The store clerk said, "Blue's a great color for a boyfriend's scarf." She shook her head and replied, "I'll take black." George wasn't Makoto. He was low-key, preferred black, and always tried to blend into the crowd. So yes, this scarf was for George, an anniversary gift. Her friend overheard and teased, "Willow, don't tell me you're knitting a scarf for Makoto." Willow replied, as if, like she'd ever give a gift to the men who dumped her. She wasn't that pathetic, but now, the black scarf she had painstakingly knitted for George was wrapped around Makoto's neck. Makoto didn't even need to ask for anything, and she was already willing to give up all her boundaries for him. Their souls were in sync, and their bodies even more so. Willow's phone suddenly buzzed. George's name flashed through her mind. Unlocking the screen, she remembered she'd muted George's messages long ago. So, this message wasn't from him. Just then, she sneezed. Makoto gently unwrapped the scarf from his neck and placed it around her. He said, "It's already spring. How is it still this cold? Here, Willow, wear this. Don't catch a cold." But Willow thought of another scarf, the one she originally didn't plan to give anyone. Then thought maybe she could give to Makoto, but later decided wasn't worthy of him after all. A blue scarf. Started on a whim, she said, "Wait a sec, Makoto. I actually knitted another one for you. I'll go get it." She grabbed her car keys and stood up. Her friends began teasing again. Ugh, this single dog is dying of jealousy. First time seeing Willow be so thoughtful. Makoto looked smug. Willow had countless admirers, but the one she really liked was him, Makoto. Of course, Makoto had no shortage of women in his life either, but Willow was still the brightest of them all. Makoto thought she was just heading to the car. What he didn't know was, she was going home. The night wind roared in her ears. For some reason, her heart felt uneasy. When she arrived at the apartment, she glanced at the time. George should already be asleep by now. Still, as if she needed to prove she was still mad. She slammed the door shut behind her, no tiptoeing. She didn't even change her shoes, just clicked across the floor in heels and stormed into the bedroom. "Where's that scarf I made for you? Give it back." Silence. No one answered. Willow turned on the light. Of course, the bed was empty. On the nightstand, there was a bag. Inside it, the blue scarf. And on the living room table lay the divorce papers. Chapter 7. Crossing thousands of kilometers, the distance between north and south felt like going abroad. It took me a whole month to adjust to the humid southern climate, to the point where the sticky feeling no longer messed with my mood. The girl across from me said, "Handsome. Don't think I'm high maintenance. I can give you emotional value." The girl speaking with a deliberately soft voice was someone I matched with on a dating app. She was quite pretty, but I honestly had nothing to talk about with her. I used the excuse of an alarm and left. In this unfamiliar city, I used dating apps without restraint, unafraid of bumping into anyone I knew. I met one woman a week, just to pass the time. The best way to break the illusion of beauty is to get close to beautiful women. Although I'm no longer obsessed with looks like I once was, choosing a pretty face when everything else is uncertain is never really a mistake. 2 months into my panning for gold in the mud plan, I actually found a nugget. She was 15 minutes late. She wore a tailored French-style waist dress, her long hair gathered in a low bun, each strand sleek and well-kept, but maybe because she had rushed over, a few strands had come loose, making her look slightly less formal. Her features were delicate and soft, arched brows, almond-shaped eyes, lips neither too thin nor too full, and the corners of her mouth naturally curved as if smiling. Not as striking as Willow, but undeniably pleasant to look at. Unlike other women who acted like going on a date with them was some kind of huge favor, and who thought being late was their birthright, she simply lowered her eyes and sincerely said, "Sorry I'm late." After just one meal, I was already second-guessing myself. Not only was she from a much wealthier background than Willow, she was far above me as well. Willow works as a model, not a big earner but with high expenses, and everything she thinks is written on her face. But this woman in front of me, I couldn't read her at all. Our whole conversation was smooth and comfortable, which meant she and I weren't in the same league. She was downward compatible. Logically, I knew someone like this wasn't right for killing time, but emotionally, I didn't really want to let her go, especially when I went to pay the bill and found she had already taken care of it. In the past, forget about them paying. I rarely even saw someone willing to split the check. Yet she, almost as if reading my mind, said, "You can get the next one." For a moment, I caught the faint sweetness of her perfume. Before I knew it, I said, "Miss Sue, would you like to grab a drink with me?" Anna looked a little surprised. Then she smiled and said, "That's not what you said when you asked me out." I didn't push. I said, "All right then, forget it." Just as I finished speaking, Anna said, "I don't like going to bars." Did that mean she'd rather go to my place? Southern nights are especially beautiful. The streetlights shimmered, bright and full of life. I nodded immediately. "All right, we're both adults. No need to be coy." 30 minutes later, Anna and I were clinking bottles by the roadside. I was speechless. Right, there's more to the world than just bars and my apartment. 1 bottle in, we were talking about Kant and Hume, about values and worldviews. 2 bottles in, I told her I was married to an insanely beautiful woman, my teenage dream come true. She curled her lips slightly but didn't leave. 3 bottles in, I told her the relationship had already fallen apart. We were separated and getting a divorce, so I wasn't really cheating. Anna seemed to chuckle. She said, "Even if you were cheating, I wouldn't mind. When someone's actions don't hurt anyone, they're not really immoral." I laughed. "That's pretty libertarian of you." 4 bottles in, we talked about marriage, from feudal times to now. 8 bottles in, blushing, I asked her, "Answer me, are you a 36D? Answer me, look in my eyes, answer me." Chapter 8. I woke up in my own place. Anna had somehow managed to drag my drunk self all the way home, haul me onto the bed, even tidied up my messy apartment a bit, and then left without making a sound. Thinking back on the events of last night, I felt a bit regretful. Looked like, for the sake of saving face, I'd have to let go of this gold nugget. Maybe we just weren't meant to be. That thought stuck with me until Monday, when I walked into the conference room and saw the new manager. Anna was dressed in an off-white trench coat, looking elegant and confident. She smiled and greeted the room. "I look forward to working with you all." No wonder we hit it off. So we were feeding from the same trough. A well-informed colleague leaned over and whispered in my ear, Word is, she's got some powerful connections upstairs. That kind of gossip, tasteless and hollow. I gave a half-hearted response. The guy got all fired up and said, "Just wait, I'll dig deeper and report back." He spent the whole morning snooping around and came back with a few scraps. She graduated from the University of Bristol in the UK. She's from up north, same region as you. Her parents both work in the public sector. Yeah, I could have just read her HR file and learned all that. The guy frowned. "Don't give me that look. Just wait, I'll keep going." His next round of snooping led to Anna cornering me by the break room. "I heard you've been asking about me," she said. I almost spilled my coffee all over the table. She continued, "If you want to know something, you can just ask me directly." I let out an awkward laugh. No, it's not like that." Anna was quick with the banter. "If you're too shy, you could always take me out to dinner." My first instinct was to brush it off and say no. Then I remembered, she outranked me by half a level. What if she made life difficult for me? So, I agreed. Right before the end of the workday, my colleague leaned in close. "With that, come on, ask me," look written all over his face. With a sigh, I asked, "So what? Did you find out if Anna P's sitting down or standing up?" He frowned. "Don't disrespect me like that. I found out, she transferred here with her fiancé." Oh well, not really breaking news. With someone that beautiful and with that kind of background, how could she possibly still be single? "Hey, where are you going?" I wasn't finished. Chapter 9. Right before heading out, I got a call from Willow. Seeing wife on the screen, I paused. Willow had almost never called me before. Even when I was out late at social events until 10, she never once phoned to check in. I declined the call, then messaged her on WeChat. "I'm heading out. If it's something important, you can text me." By the time I got in the car, there was still no reply. I hesitated, then sent another message. "Is there anything you're unhappy about in the divorce agreement?" The message came back with a red exclamation mark. She had deleted me. On reflex, I tapped into her moments. Her WeChat posts were visible even to people not on her friend list. The most recent one was a screenshot of a post from Makoto. Makoto had written, "You are my invincible summer." The photo was from years ago. A summer night by the beach. Two shadows. The one with long hair was twirling in motion, the tall one holding her by the waist, as if afraid she'd fall. Willow had reposted it with the caption, "No matter how hot the summer gets, I'll stay by your side." Clearly, she wasn't as well read as Makoto. She probably didn't realize that line was adapted from Camus' wedding notebook. Makoto was about to propose to her. I scrolled down. Her last post before this was 2 years ago. A photo at the airport, tagged with a location, and the simple caption, "Arrived." Even without seeing the comments, I could imagine how many replies she got. The location was in the same country, but another city, where Makoto lived. In short, her WeChat feed had never had anything to do with me. Not even our wedding. After dinner with Anna, just as we were about to part, she suddenly asked, "How about a drink?" I was about to refuse when she smiled again. "You look like you want a drink tonight." And, well, so do I. She was sharp, like that stray ginger tabby cat that used to linger downstairs at my old apartment. If I avoided eye contact, it knew I didn't want to pet it. If I slowed my pace, it would come nudge me, and when I was heading home, it would pretend to be tired and say goodbye. Sadly, one day, it disappeared. After a few drinks, my emotions cracked wide open. I slammed the table and ranted. "You women always say men should work hard, should treat women well. Then tell me, was it not hard work for me to become a deputy director at such a young age? Answer me. You think it's easy to get to that level? Tell me, look in my eyes, tell me, why, baby, why? Is it just because I look average that I don't deserve love? Even when I try hard, I still get cheated on. So being good to women guarantees I won't get cheated on. Oh sure, yeah, right." Anna took the glass from my hand, smiling as she said, "Have you ever thought that maybe the kind of love you're chasing puts too much weight on looks and money? You're just choosing the wrong type of person, that's all. There are people out there who care more about what's inside." I cut her off, nodding. "I've known that for a long time, but why do people keep reminding me of it over and over? I know I'm average looking, that I have to make up for it with money. I've accepted that a long time ago. Honestly, I'm not ugly, just normal, plain. But when someone keeps showing up and telling you again and again that you're average, and that no matter how hard you try, you're still not good enough, it grates on you. That's what Willow is doing now. She keeps rubbing it in, making sure I know she despises me, that I'll never be enough for her." Anna gave me a helpless smile. "If you already know, why are you so mad?" She poured me a glass of water. "Right, this time, we were drinking at my place." I chuckled softly. Couldn't let the opportunity go to waste. As I lay in bed, Anna said, "If you want, you don't have to try so hard. Who says a man has to work himself to the bone just to provide for a woman?" She paused and added, I'm not someone who cares much about looks or material things. Just as she got up to leave, I suddenly said, "Why don't you stay tonight?" I saw Anna freeze mid-step. I quickly added, "It's late. Not safe to head out now. I have a guest room." I really didn't want anything to happen between us. Not with someone who had a fiancé. I was afraid the guy might show up at my workplace and beat the crap out of me. Men don't get off easy with these things. One scandal, and your whole career is toast. The next morning, the guest room bed was neatly made. No signs anyone had slept in it. The apartment was empty, just me. As I was wondering what kind of breakfast delivery to order, the doorbell rang. It was Anna, wearing a sports tank top, holding a thermal container. She tilted her head, smiled warmly, and said, "You drank too much last night. I made some millet porridge. Figured I'd drop it off after my morning run. How can someone be this kind? Good thing I'm a once-burned, cautious nice guy now, not the type to fall for love again, nor foolish enough to think she'd ever truly be into me." As I walked Anna out, in the distance, I saw a familiar figure standing by the flowerbed. Chapter 10. Willow's eyes landed on Anna. Sweat had dampened the strands of hair at Anna's forehead, clinging softly to the sides of her face, like she had just stepped out of the shower. Willow's brows furrowed tightly. Anna blinked and tilted her head toward me. "Do you need me to explain things to her?" She said it casually, but she was standing very close to me. I caught a whiff of sweat, but it was different. Her sweat mixed with her natural scent, alluring in a way I couldn't ignore. I shook my head. "No need." And then it hit me. How did she know Willow was my wife? There was no way a stranger could have guessed that. Willow said, enunciating each word, "George, am I dead to you?" Her expression was full of rage, eyes blazing like she wanted to devour me whole. Women like her, always so self-righteous. Even when they're the ones who messed up, they can only ever see the other person's mistakes. I told Anna to go. I'd handle it. She confirmed a few times before finally leaving. Willow glared at me, fuming. "So you didn't answer my call because you were with her?" I was speechless. "So, she came all the way here just because I didn't pick up the phone yesterday?" I said. "She's just a colleague. Don't overthink it." Willow clearly didn't buy it. Her face flushed red as she shot back. "You think I'm an idiot? A colleague walks out of your place early in the morning." I offered a simple explanation. "Look at her, she's gorgeous. Why would she ever go for someone like me?" A very solid argument. "Finally," I said calmly, with a trace of helplessness, "if you insist on thinking that way, there's nothing I can do." Willow froze for a second. She grabbed my arm, her breath shaky. I sighed. "Besides, I've never once confronted you about you and Makoto." Her expression stayed dark, but something must have clicked. Her brows relaxed ever so slightly. "George," she said, "you don't have to get back at me like this. Those women who are willing to be with you, it's just because you have money." I was speechless. I mean, wasn't I with her for her looks? She went on, "If you really mind Makoto, I can delete those posts. He won't come to the house anymore." And in that moment, I understood what she really meant. She was saying, "I can't break things off with Makoto, but all the property will be yours. And the money you spent on me, I can have Makoto pay you back." I suddenly laughed. I looked at her, that stunning, striking face I had chased after for hundreds, maybe thousands of days and nights. Even after I'd already decided to let her go, I couldn't help but still be shaken by her beauty. But now, I was done. I was over this shallow, one-sided love. Even the best ice cream cone, if you eat it every day for 1,000 days, will become sickening. Not to mention this ice cream cone is mediocre at best, and it's already been licked by a bunch of dogs. Now it's sneaking out again to get licked by someone else behind my back. The thought of spending the rest of my life with this cone fills me with despair. I gritted my teeth. "Willow, do you take me for some kind of idiot? All these years, I've never done you wrong. I worked and earned money for you. You barely had to lift a finger. 4 or 5 months a year, you were off traveling. When you left, I packed your luggage. When you spent, I paid the bills. You didn't have time to deal with your relatives or social obligations. I handled them all. When your dad was hospitalized, you were off vacationing abroad, and I was the one pulling strings to arrange his surgery. I'm not interested in playing the third wheel in your love story with Makoto. And as for money, fair trade, even exchange. Let's just end this. Willow." I paused and asked, "Or, are you the one who's not ready to let go?" A nice guy's reason for divorce always comes after being hurt. Willow looked stunned. She opened her mouth but couldn't find the words. I understood. If I were her, I wouldn't want to divorce me either. Not because she still loved me, but because guys like me, young, accomplished, self-conscious but still dignified, are a rare breed these days. A well-behaved ATM who doubles as a doormat. Prime pick for a lifetime of manipulation. I quietly watched her. I wasn't in a rush, because whatever her answer was, it wouldn't change my decision. At last, she said, "George, you really think too much of yourself. You actually believe I'd miss you. I'll have my lawyer send over the divorce papers." She turned and walked away like I was some pest clinging to her ankles. I shrugged. Fine by me. Whatever she says, as long as we get divorced. Chapter 11. Nothing really progressed between Anna and me. I deliberately kept my distance. Whenever she messaged me, I replied politely, with just the right amount of courtesy and distance. She's smart. I'm sure she got the message. I went on a date with someone new. She was very young, looked sweet, and studied dance. I asked her, why did she want to meet someone like me? She was direct. She said, I just want to meet people from different fields and ages. I liked that answer. It felt pressure-free. A one-time date. In the end, I paid the bill. She wanted to add me on social media. I declined. As I walked out of the restaurant, I got a call from my mom. Before I could say a single word, she launched into a furious tirade. She yelled, "You're divorcing Willow." She's a local in Beijing. Do you have any idea how many years of struggle you saved by marrying a local when you're from out of town? I swear, you've read yourself into stupidity. Listening to her proud, scolding voice through the phone, I felt a bit dazed. The last time she had scolded me so righteously, I was probably still in elementary school. That was when I said I wanted to adopt the stray cat downstairs. She locked me out of the house and said, there can only be one kept being in this house, either it or you. When my dad got home, she couldn't wait to exaggerate the story and complain. My dad said she was making a mountain out of a molehill. He calmed her down and let me back in. It reminded me of something I'd read recently, some so-called scholarly book quoted by people online. It claimed that most East Asian mothers are subconsciously misogynistic, that they suppress and control their daughters because of the absence of the father figure, and that daughters are often forced to fulfill the emotional role of a husband. Supposedly, this stems from their ideological upbringing and the social environment, where these women are emotionally dependent on men, yet men are always disappearing, either physically or emotionally. Some even argued that policies like mandatory divorce cooling-off periods and the social resistance to expensive bride prices were reflections of this underlying misogyny. I'm not here to debate whether these books are legit or not, but does the emotional suppression I received from my mom mean she actually hates men? And what does it even mean to say a daughter assumes the role of a husband? Isn't assigning roles like that already a stereotype? If you flip the situation and the kid is a son, wouldn't he be forced to take on the same role too? At most, it's just an elder asserting control, trying to maintain their own sense of value and authority by putting down the younger generation. But here's the thing, I'm not going to change my decision just because of someone else's value system, and I'm definitely not going to waste my whole future being a spineless pushover for some cheating pretender. On the other end of the line, my dad chimed in with his usual peacekeeping tone. Don't be angry, he's just acting on impulse. You know what he's like, always been smart, typical. My dad, always trying to smooth things over. Limited life experience but always eager to play mediator. Thinks every problem can be solved if everyone just takes one step back, and suddenly it's no big deal. Yet every time there was a real issue and he couldn't solve it, I was the one who had to step up. And if I failed, I lacked wisdom. If I succeeded, I was too aggressive, lacked vision. But when it was his turn to solve something, he'd just avoid it and pretend everything was fine. I pinched the bridge of my nose and said, "Willow cheated." My dad went silent. Then my mom's voice came through. "Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. Willow doesn't seem like that kind of person." I added, "It wasn't just once." My mom kept going, "Still, divorce is too impulsive." But my dad cut her off. He asked, "Do you want me to come be with you?" The night breeze carried a touch of spring warmth. I smiled and said, "No need, Dad, I've got it. You know me, I've always been the smart one." Chapter 12. I tried reaching out to Willow. We had agreed on the divorce papers, but now she wouldn't give them to me, and instead went crying to my parents. At some point, she added me back on WeChat, but the messages I sent her vanished into the void. She didn't reply. She didn't even pick up when I called. Instead, it was Willow's mother who contacted me, of course, to talk me out of the divorce. She said, "It's all Willow's fault. I've already scolded her. From now on, all the assets will be under your name. Her spending will be completely limited. This will never happen again." I sent her the video. After watching it, she said, "Willow was just..." I cut her off, voice heavy with emotion. "Auntie, I really love Willow. I still can't bear to let her go. But after everything she's done to me, what choice do I have?" There was a noticeable pause when she heard me call her auntie. Before she could speak, I shifted the tone and added, "Willow's a model. After all, she lives off her image. I don't want to make this ugly. Please let her know. If she still refuses to respond, I won't hesitate to put that video online." On the other end, I heard something crash. Willow must have been there too. I hung up. That very day, I received the divorce agreement. I took time off work and went to file the divorce at the Civil Affairs Bureau. In front of the building, I waited for 30 minutes before Willow finally showed up, with Makoto. Just as Makoto was about to get out of the car, he saw my dad glaring at him. Yep, my dad came after all. He had the neighbor's kid help him book a flight behind my back and came here on his own. Makoto froze mid-step. He was afraid this peasant migrant worker from out of town would beat him to a pulp. My dad didn't get his hands on Makoto, so he turned and started cursing at Willow instead. Willow tried calling him Dad. My father snapped. Don't call me Dad. The Wong family doesn't have a daughter-in-law like you. Willow realized that playing nice wasn't working when my dad's scolding only got worse. She snapped and yelled back, I only married your son because he begged and wouldn't let go. That's just how Willow is. Even when she's clearly in the wrong, she'll never admit it. I held my father back. He was getting louder and louder. I didn't want to hear them argue. I had pulled strings to get this divorce appointment. It was hard to get, and I wasn't about to waste it. After that, everything went smoothly. The clerk told us to come back in a month to pick up the official divorce certificate. Willow's gaze lingered on my pale and haggard face for a long time, until my dad dragged me away and Makoto, face dark as thunder, called her name. Then they disappeared. I figured Makoto had come along for a little public display of affection, but my dad ruined their moment. Once they left, I left too, with my dad. Since he'd come all this way, I decided to take him around town, so I took another day off. My boss looked troubled when I asked. There was a new project, and I was requesting extra leave at the last minute. I was about to give up, but half an hour later, my leave got approved. It was Anna. She had taken on the work. After sending my dad off and returning to the office, I messaged Anna to thank her. She replied with just, no problem. That tiny sentence. I stared at it for 10 minutes. It tickled something in my chest, light as a feather, but impossible to ignore. That woman. So restrained. I took the necklace I had originally bought for Willow and stuffed it into a gift bag. Feeling a little guilty, I added a bracelet too. After a whole month, I asked Anna out for a drink again. She didn't reply. I wasn't disappointed. We're adults. Aside from money, nothing in life is truly non-negotiable. Half an hour later, she messaged back. This time, I'll pick the place. I replied, okay. And then, my doorbell rang. Chapter 13. I got a call from one of Willow's friends just as Anna and I had finally opened up to each other and made things official. Anna told me she rarely developed feelings for anyone, but that she had noticed something different about me years ago. I did the math on the time she mentioned. Back then, I was about to finish my PhD, running around like a lackey for my advisor, desperately trying to land a decent job. At the dinner table, I was the butt of jokes, taking it all with a straight face. I poured drinks for the big shots, bowed and scraped. I gave speech after speech full of empty flattery. Drank glass after glass, the ritualistic drinking culture born out of modern civilization. How could someone like me hope to change it? After the banquet, I arranged cars for each of the senior guests. Anna had come along with a powerful relative, so she hadn't been forced to drink or needed my help. She saw me throwing up by the roadside. After I was done, I cursed everyone in my dialect. When I turned around, there she was. It was awkward, but I assumed she didn't understand my dialect. That relaxed me a bit. I forced a fawning smile and said, Miss Sue, you're still here? Truth was, Anna had understood everything. She understood the filth in my curses, and the painfully melodramatic things I said afterward. And then she smiled and said she was looking at the stars. I glanced up. All I saw were streetlights. I thought she might have gone blind. But if a princess says it's stars, then stars it is, Anna said. The way I looked at her back then made her think I saw her as an idiot. But my words were full of polite flattery. Later, she saw me a few more times. Sometimes I had already gotten what I wanted. Sometimes, I was still fighting for it. The expression on my face was always mild and honest, but the ambition in my eyes was hard to hide. She hadn't gotten the chance to reach out to me before she heard from someone else that I was chasing after Willow. When she finished her story, I stared at her in surprise. You liked me all the way back then. She pouted. You really couldn't tell. You were just avoiding responsibility, so you deliberately kept your distance. Fair enough. I scratched my nose, feeling a little guilty, and asked, what about your fiancé? She blinked, then handed me her phone. I don't know where you heard that nonsense. If I have a fiancé, you can find him in here. I scrolled through her phone, didn't really look at her WeChat. Mostly went through the photo gallery, just in case there were any private photos. Then I decided, it might be time for a deeper conversation. Anna said, I haven't been in a relationship for years, so please take care of me, Mr. Wong. And don't get the wrong idea, it's not that I was avoiding it because of you. I just hadn't met anyone else who made me feel the way you do. Before she could finish, I pinned her against the wall and kissed her. It was the first time I saw her flustered, her ears turned crimson. A poised, elegant woman blushing, way more intoxicating than a shy schoolgirl. Oh, and she was still wearing the necklace I gave her. The next day, I returned the call from Willow's friend. She said, George, Willow's leg is broken. She's in the hospital. For once, she called me by my real name, and she sounded cautious. Not that it mattered, because I never bothered remembering her name anyway. I said, "You should call Makoto. Willow and I live in different worlds now." There was a pause on the other end. Then she told me, Willow's leg had been broken by Makoto's loan sharks. Makoto wanted to marry Willow, but they were deep in debt. In their social circles, it's normal to live beyond your means just to keep up appearances. Luxury spending and maxed out credit are par for the course. Makoto, as a male model, should have been clinging to some rich woman, but for Willow's sake, he broke things off with his sugar mama. And Willow, she had lost me, the human ATM. So together, they spiraled, borrowing more and more just to survive. When they couldn't pay it back, the debt collectors told them to film certain videos for quick money. That's when Willow finally drew the line. Makoto walked away, back to his rich woman. Willow, left with a broken leg, lost multiple modeling jobs. The breach of contract penalties crushed her even more. Willow and her friends probably didn't expect me to actually show up. When I walked into the hospital room, Willow's expression was a mess, somewhere between awkward and delighted. Her friends quickly made excuses and left. Willow's voice was dry when she asked, "How have you been lately?" I set the fruit basket down on the chair and nodded. "Pretty good." Willow bit her lip and murmured, almost pitifully, "I'm not doing so well. Why didn't you come back? Didn't you say you were only on a 3-day trip? Why did you lie to me?" Her eyes brimmed with tears. "You're staying this time, right? I've told Makoto everything. We can be like before, just like before." I couldn't hold it anymore. Ha 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 ha. I was going to fake some sadness, but I broke character and burst out laughing. Maybe I'd acted so well before that she really thought I'd been standing in place all this time, waiting for her to come back, waiting to be her backup plan. Willow stared at me, confused. I wiped the tears from my laughter and said, "I'm only back because work needs me here. Just a reminder, our divorce certificate will be ready the day after tomorrow. You can come in a wheelchair if that's too difficult. I can even hire a nurse to wheel you in." Willow looked stunned. I walked out without another word. On the official registration day, Willow showed up on time. Even as we were picking up the divorce certificate, she said, "You can still change your mind. It's not too late. We don't have to get divorced." As we walked out of the bureau, she took a deep breath and said, "George, I know I made mistakes, but..." Anna stepped out of the car. Willow stared blankly at the necklace around Anna's neck, then at me, smiling and chatting with Anna. Anna asked, "All done?" I nodded, waved the certificate in my hand, and got into the car. Before we drove off, now that the divorce certificate was finally in my hand, I decided to tell Willow the truth. I said, "Actually, I do regret something." I thought, unlike Makoto, I do regret things a lot. Even though every step I take is calculated, there's no guarantee I won't misjudge. Experience and perspective matter, but I'm the kind of person who regrets and fixes things. Regret isn't a weakness. I said, "I regret marrying you. Someone like you is only good for a fling, not a serious relationship, and definitely not marriage." Willow didn't seem to fully grasp what I said yet. I smiled at her, pleasant, even thankful. "Still, I should thank you. If you hadn't cheated, I wouldn't have known how to bring up divorce. Had she not crossed that line, no one would have taken my side. But the conditions for staying in a marriage were never just about not breaking the rules. They say, marriage is a big deal. Not a game. You can't just leave because the love is gone, but precisely because it's a big deal. You can't afford mistakes." I drove off with Anna. In the rearview mirror, Willow tried to do something but fell out of her wheelchair. Later, she came looking for me again, but the security guard at my office turned her away. She yelled that I played her for a fool, but no one believed her. After all, I'm a nice guy. A few years later, I heard she'd gone abroad to find Makoto, caught some kind of illness. After that, no more news. By the way, by then, I had reached a position where I no longer had to press the elevator button myself.